Tucker Carlson roasts Mike Pence on stage in front of hundreds of people. Let's play the clip.
A man named Mike Pence. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He was a former vice president. Here's what happened here. If you can play this, Rob, go for it.
Along the way, the Biden administration has been slow in providing military support. Make no mistake about this. We promised them 33 Abrams tanks in January. I heard again 2 weeks ago in Ukraine, they still don't have them. We've been telling them we'll train their F-16 pilots, but now they're saying maybe January we'll let somebody transfer some jets.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President, have you, I know you're running for president. You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years. Yeah. Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States.
Miami. He's not even making eye contact. No eye contact. Look.
The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
It's not my concern.
Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern. I'm running for president of the United States because I think this country's in a lot of trouble.
Not his concern. You're running for president of America. Shouldn't that be your biggest concern? I don't know what he meant by this. He couldn't have meant like, oh, I'm not concerned about America. I guess he meant by Tucker's routine, as he called it. I don't get it at all. And I don't know who he's preaching to with this Ukraine talk. You know, whether he likes it or not, the Republican base are Trump supporters that are very anti-war. So who are you preaching to? It's like people like him and Lindsey Graham. They're more like current day leftists than Republicans. Republicans don't want war. That's a leftist thing now. This is why the crowd was cheering. You know, Tucker's like, hey, we don't like this. You know, who cares about Ukraine right now? Americans is in shambles, and everyone started cheering. And notice that Lindsey Graham, he got booed off stage recently at a Trump rally. He goes on there and starts talking. Everyone's instantly booing him. They're like, oh, not this guy. And Pence was like super condescending to Tucker. I know you're running for president. Thanks for noticing. Well, honestly, not many other people are probably noticing. It's kind of like a Floridian slip that he said that, isn't it? It's really funny. And Pence just looks super awkward through this whole stage. He didn't even know what to do. He's all stiff. He couldn't even make eye contact with Tucker or the audience. He looks so uncomfortable. You should not be running for president, sir. And Tucker's like a huge part of the Republican Party, too. Him and Trump. They're the biggest names of the Republican Party, and you're making enemies with them both? I don't think this is a very good strategy, and I doubt it's going to work out for him.
Like, that's the epitome of...
None of that makes sense to me.
Well, there's so much stupidity there.
Now you're concerned, but you're concerned, but...
We did a Marge Simpson reference. I mean, he comes off as a 1994 Simpsons Republican, right? Like the caricature at the castle with the lightning, sitting with Mr. Burns. Yeah. That's one thing. The other thing, this idea that he's upset with Biden because we promised him 33 Abrams tanks in January. If let's say we gave him 66, we doubled it. Does anyone think the war would be going any differently? It's just complete nonsense. And then the line, that's not my concern. I will give him a little bit of a leash on that because I think he just actually, because he's such a robot, I don't think he meant it that way, like I'm not concerned about America. I think he meant I'm not concerned the way you're framing this question.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, that must be what he meant, right? But either way, that soundbite, it just makes him sound awful. This definitely does not look like a guy that's should be running for president and will be a future president. That was just, I'm not concerned with America. That's what he said. Again, it must be, he couldn't have meant that. But maybe that was a Floridian slip too. Actually, I'm not concerned with America.
But Adam, you brought up a great point. When Tucker says all the cities in America are crumbling, Miami is not crumbling. Plenty of cities in Florida are not crumbling, and Nashville's not crumbling. I mean, there are some cities that aren't.
Not every city in America is doing worse.
No,
certain
but
are.
The ones that are doing well all happen to be
thriving.
Yeah,
of course.
Well, it does make me happy seeing that, though, Dave, and loving that Americans are just done with that. Yeah, there's carbon cutout. His hair. It's just, imagine he's not making any eye contact. He's just looking in the audience like he's getting votes. It's like, bro, people are done with that.
What do you think he's doing? Because is this just purely to do a little cleanup job on the association with Trump? That he's like, I'll try it so that maybe I'll be remembered for that? Instead of the Trump thing? Like,
yes, Dave.
Do you know one person that's supporting him? One person that even thinks he should be running?
He got half the votes Tim Scott got on that one poll that we ran. No, he's done. I think I asked the same question with Chris Christie. Like, what is Chris Christie and him doing? You're not going to win. So what job are you trying to get? Are you trying to get a job on what? Biden administration? Or is it, we can go to the dark side, which the dark side is what? Hey, Mr. Pence, who has lived a perfect life. These are 3 things we know about you that we found on how you searched for Google, and you searched on this on that day, and you did this and you did that. Just want to let you know, you better respect, or else this is going to be released. And when it does, your grandkids are always going to look at daddy as a perv, and they're going to, I'm not saying this is the truth or not. Right. The only reason a person sounds like this, look at the look on his face right there. Look at that. The only person a person talks like this is because they're scared and they're trying to prevent something from happening. You can't suddenly flip like this.
I don't know. It has to be to get money, more speaking deals. Maybe it is kind of about legacy in that on that front. Hey, maybe I'll get more speaking deals if I distance myself from Trump. But yeah, he has no chance of winning. There's no way. And I always just think it's like for future books, speaking engagements, stuff like that. That's why him and Chris Christie are running. Why else would they be? It doesn't even make any sense. The only person that actually kind of makes sense is Ron DeSantis for running, but I'm not happy about that because it's really disloyal to Trump because he essentially got DeSantis elected and now he's running against him. But I get why DeSantis is doing it. If Trump for some reason gets knocked out of the race from all this stuff that the leftists are doing, hey, DeSantis is going to win for sure. So that's why he's doing it. But there's no way at all that Mike Pence or Chris Christie are going to win.
Look, Scottie Pippen writes his book that flops. In the interview, they asked him, and they said, so how do you want to be remembered as? Do you remember his answer?
I don't.
He says, I want to be remembered as the greatest of all time. Did you hear what he said? I want to be remembered as the greatest of all time. By the way, Scottie Pippen is a top 50 of all time. Okay?
Top 50.
But he's not a greatest of all time. Mike Pence is not a top 1,000 or 500 in that space. Okay? He's a good guy. He's a good man. He's a good husband. He's done very good with his family. But he can't say, I want to be the president and out to Trump. No, you're not that guy. So the motive behind it is kind of funky, where he's a role player to disrupt and kind of mess up somebody that's ahead of him. He's a pawn that's being used by somebody. Because aside from that, what are you running for? What are you running for? There's nothing legacy-wise that looks good unless if you believe that insurrection. I saw a video the other day that showed the following. It shows the video of, the CNN guy is doing the interview, and he's shown in the back there's fires.
Mostly peaceful protests.
It's mostly
peaceful.
A peaceful protest.
Churches on fire behind them.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
Peaceful men and women out here. They're just upset. And you see January 6th, they're standing in front of, this is an insurrection. This is, these guys, Okay, flamboyant, you're selling all this stuff. And Pence, kind of weird. For me, Chris Christie, I can understand it because Chris Christie, I actually understand Chris Christie more than I understand Pence. Chris Christie is kind of trying to protect his legacy, to go and say, that was a good recommendation with Chris Wray. I actually think Chris Wray's done a good job. So he's defending the recommendations he made. And Chris Christie, probably is envious. I think Chris Christie's more the envious guy. My concern with him, I think he's a topic, I'd love to have him on the podcast, but it's very hard. If you want to control the national debt that's ballooned, but you have a hard time controlling your own national debt in your body, you got to first cut off some of that debt of whatever you're eating.
There's a legit optical issue there.
Yeah, so for me, I actually understand Chris Christie's fight. I don't understand Pence's fight at all.
I guess I kind of see his point, but I feel like a broken record. I just think it's to sell books and to stay in the limelight. Because let's say Chris Christie and Mike Pence go away. They're never going to, if they don't run for president, why would anybody even ever talk about them? They won't. Chris Christie talking about the national debt. All these people, when they run, always talk about the national debt. Barack Obama in 2008 talked about the national debt. And then they get in there, it's all fake. They don't care about the national debt. None of these politicians do. You'd have to get someone in there like Dave Smith, you know, a libertarian or something, to actually do something about the debt. Trump says he would have in his first term, but he couldn't because everything was depleted, and, you know, and maybe that's true, and everything was like falling apart like he was saying. That could be true, but now in his second term, things I think are worse for the country now, and depletion and stuff. Apparently all of our weapons are gone because they gave them all to Ukraine, and now it's going to take years to re-establish that amount of weapons that we had. So it's the national debt's just broken again, unless we get like Dave Smith, the libertarian, or something in there. Yeah, that national debt's not going anywhere. But yeah, like I don't get Chris Christie. I don't get Mike Pence. I think they should. I mean, they're not going to drop out. What's the point now, right? They could fundraise until after the debates or whatever. And again, just stick in the limelight, maybe get some money here and there, raise some money for campaigns, do some traveling and stuff with that expense, right? But that's the only reason why I would even think they would stay in here. And especially after this blunder, I think Mike Pence should just drop out now. Again, he's not going to, but he should. There's no chance for him. But you know, that's just my opinion. What is your opinion on the story? Please let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for daily news updates, hit that notification bell, and share this video to help spread the news. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.